Oh, sorry, I muted myself. Thank you. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you all are. Welcome to the stream. I'm Danielle Heberling here with Believe in Serverless. It's been a while for me, as you can tell by me starting muted. But today we have Michael Walmsley here joining us from Australia to chat about how to maximize your vibe with Amazon Q and Power Tools. He can correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe the advice here is going to be good for like any AI editor assistant. So let me bring him up here. Hey, Michael.
Hello, I just unmute myself. Welcome. So excited to be here to talk to the Believe in Serverless community and share my talk. Like you said, Daniel, you just mentioned that, hey, what I'm talking about here is not specific to Amazon QCLI. My journey is with Amazon QCLI, and as you can see from when people see the slides, it is actually a slide deck I gave at the AWS Summit in Sydney back in June. So this is about my journey with AI coding assistants and how you can maximize your vibe, not just with Amazon Q, but any tool. Yeah, Joseph, time to vibe out.
Good vibes only, I hope. You want me to bring up your slides here?
Let's go. I think we get started. So, hey, everyone, Michael Walmsley. Look, I'm an advanced application engineering manager. That's a really big term. It's the official term. It's not actually what I do. But I work with Accenture in Australia, and I'm an AWS Serverless hero that we're going to talk about maximizing your vibe with Amazon Q. So this is my story of using AI coding assistants. Andrej Karpathy, we have to start here in 2023. He talked about the hottest new programming language is English. He coined this phrase in 2023. In 2025, in February, he was responsible with terming vibe coding, and that's kind of where vibe coding started this year. And we've all seen the hype. We've all been caught up in everything to do with vibe coding and AI assistants, and generative AI is going to change the way we build. Let's go on the journey. Let's go on my journey of learning how to do this. So vibe coding is awesome, right? You can go really simple. You can turn around and go, build me a snake game with Python. And it's kind of doing this right now. At the start there, you see I did a little tools trust all. This is Amazon Q CLI. And I've asked it just to build me a snake game. Now, this is what vibe coding is all about. Vibe coding is about really simple statements, making really simple statements and getting code built for you automatically without doing anything. You can see now I'm completely hands off here. There's completely nothing. It's created some code, it's created some documentation, and now I'm done. Like, this is sped up. So this is sped up a little bit. So we're going probably twice the speed, but basically within 2 minutes, less than 2 minutes, you can spin up a game and you can actually have something real. And this is what vibe coding, this is what we get caught up with on vibe coding. And this is the examples we see online, on LinkedIn and everywhere, and on social media. This is what people are talking about, and this is where vibe coding starts. What we generally do when we vibe code is we go up to AI, and if you think about AI as an extension of our teams, and we think about this as from a human perspective, the way we talk with AI with vibe coding is like me being a manager or a team lead and walking up to my programmer and having a huge project and going, let's refactor this. And that's what we're asking. That's what we're doing with vibe coding. We're expecting and asking really broad statements. We're expecting AI to do all the work. And that's where I think we need to start changing our thinking and start changing what we do from a vibe perspective. So when we go and do this, all we're doing is creating confusion. Any normal person would be confused. They would be so pent up in what do they need to do, where do they start. AI will give it a go. And don't get me wrong, AI will give it a go. But it may not be as useful or as good as you believe, right? We expect it to be perfect. Here's where I started. with Amazon QCLI. I turned around back in January, February when I started playing with Amazon QCLI. And being a serverless hero, I went, let's go create a serverless code API with Python. And this is what I got. This is the code we created. So this is where my journey started back earlier this year. And quite frankly, it wasn't what I expected AI to give me. And certainly from an AWS perspective and serverless perspective, it's not code that I'd be happy writing. So where do we go from here? I kind of had to go, well, what do we go from here? And quite frankly, in my opinion, vibe coding, in my opinion, is the YOLO of 2025, and it's going to hurt your projects. It really is. So how do we teach AI to code? That's the question. And let's go down the rabbit hole of where we went. Now, earlier this year, if people follow me on socials, well, from that example of that terrible serverless API, I got really angry about the way Amazon Q was dealing with serverless CRUD APIs. So I went and created a Power Tools MCP server. This hooks into Power Tools documentation and gives you a live search of Power Tools documentation and downloads all the best practices from that documentation in snippets. So it's actually hooking to the live website here, and it's giving you real examples. So this is a quick example of me testing this out with Claude Desktop prior to Amazon QCLI having support for MCP servers. And I started playing with this, and you see here I've plugged it in, and I've started doing a search saying, hey, I want to create an AWS Lambda API with Python using Power Tools, best practices. And now it's going through and doing some searching, actually using my MCP server. And the effect of this is it started to give me, quite impressively, it gave me really good quality code. Now I've collapsed some of these examples, but the whole idea here is it's giving me the real, it's just dragging in loggers, metrics, it's bringing in the gateway resolvers, it's creating real code in an idiomatic way for Power Tools from a fast API kind of view and vibe from Power Tools, right? And this is really good. I was really excited to see this outcome. And it said to me, well, there's more to giving good context to your AI to effectively have a code. So I created the Power Tools MCP server, and really, how does that impact when we start using that with Amazon QCLI? The first time I ran this, I was blown away. It started creating code that I didn't expect it to. I really didn't know what to expect. But the power here is when you build that CRUD out, and I'm just telling it some basic things, how to go about that, what to build. And it's going to go off and do the searching for me. So Amazon QCLI works really well with this. And it will start generating real code. It does just take a little bit of time. So I've kind of sped this up and edited the video a little bit. And the MCP server that we've built for Power Tools is the MCP compliant. It's a local MCP server. It will work with all MCP tools and AI coding assistants, Claude Desktop, Amazon Q Developer, all those things, Climb, anything that allows MCPs to be plugged in. So now it's gone off and created that code, right? It's gone off and created that CRUD API. It's giving me some documentation, and basically it's giving me compliant standard code for Power Tools. This is now better looking code than what we had first up. And all I've done is expose the documentation to AI through MCP, which kind of says to me that MCP is a real thing, right? I was kind of skeptical about MCP at first. I've been skeptical for a long time. I'm a skeptic. I'm one of those skeptic technical persons, but when I get going and try things out and dive deep, this really does get real. It's even created tests. So it's gone more than just, Amazon QCLI has done more than just write the code. It's actually written tests. It's doing all the work, which I think is really cool. So MCP is a real thing. If you're not using MCP for your AI assisted coding, you should. But what more can we do? I mean, that helps with the vibe, right? So I think vibing is really effective. But really vibing is only part of it. And vibing is good for those broad statements or small snippets of things we need to do, very simple things that we need to get done, where we don't need to necessarily have a more complex regime. Now I've been collaborating with Christian Bonsley from Germany for a while. And really, we've been speaking to him about his conversation-first approach. And if you listen to people out there using AI coding assistants, it's all about the conversation-first approach. And what does that look like? So I've borrowed some of the content from Christian here to present as part of my presentation, because I really believe that the conversation-first approach and spec-first approach is really where we need to be getting to. So what does that mean? So from a conversation-first approach, we need to build a specification, right? For a bigger project, more complex project, we need to be able to build a specification. We need to use something like Amazon Q or Claude Code, whatever tool you're using, to help create step-by-step specification. So you have a conversation. So this is all about having a conversation, like you would with a person. You talk to a person to refine the spec and define what you want to build. You can do that with AI assistants as well, either with Amazon Q, either in the IDE or chatting with QCLI as well. Both of those mechanisms work. Once you've done that, once you've got the specification, you can then extend your conversation. You can add your specification that you've written, that AI has written for you. You can start expanding on that and getting an implementation plan. You can get it to review specification and actually write the implementation plan. And you can talk to it about the implementation plan. You can break down to tasks. Those tasks you can break down, and then you can actually start looking at going even further. Once you get the implementation plan, you can then look at coding execution and how you're going to execute this with AI. And you can actually have a conversation with the AI, again, using these purple boxes of the different modalities of Amazon QCLI or Amazon Q Developer. So Amazon Q Developer, if you don't know, has a number of different modalities that kind of work independently and a slightly different products sometimes. So you've got Amazon Q in the IDE, you've got chat in the IDE, and you've also got over here, you've got the dev agents and test agents and review agents happening, the agentic style workflows within Amazon Q Developer, within the IDE. If you break out into CLI, that's Amazon Q CLI. That's a separate product. That's a different product. It's kind of got a slightly different backend, but behaves differently. And we know it works with. I actually really like CLI. It's my preference. It's my go-to right now for the coding. But specification, implementation plan, coding execution. Now, you do the code execution by preparing prompts. You have to give prompts. So developers really are starting to become prompt engineers and guides for AI systems. And I feel that's where we're going in the future. You don't have to write the prompts. Beware, you don't need to write them. I don't need to write the prompts. You can actually get AI to write the prompts for you. So you use AI to create specification, use AI to create your implementation plan, use AI to actually create the prompts for each of your tasks. Once you've broken down the tasks, you can get AI to create the actual prompts for each of those tasks. And then you can execute. You can get your AI to execute. The problem with coding tools and AI assistants is they're pretty stateless. They don't often have memory. I think some of the tools now, but early on they had no memory. So if you exited and restarted, it would have no context about where you were, other than what it could see. And that's what becomes really important when we talk about spec-driven development, is allowing AI to see what's going on, to get continuity. And you get that continuity through using your file system, right? Specifications become markdown files. Your implementation plan become more detailed markdown files. And you need to start setting a regime of how do you bring these things together, and how do you bring code together, the different documents together. So when I close down my computer and come back tomorrow, we can pick up from where we left off. And it all comes down to the context and what you're sharing with the AI. So everything to do with AI coding is about managing the context, managing the information that you're giving to your AI systems. And that's where we start to build out project intelligence, right? Once we start having specifications, implementation plans, all the tasks that need to get done, coding execution of all the prompts we're going to use, we can now start getting what we call project intelligence. We're getting more intelligence about what we're building. And it becomes your Git repository and folders within your Git repository become the memory bank of what you're building, and also where it's up to. And you can control a lot of this. And as we go through and get better with AI assistants, we're going to really start driving this whole idea of specification-driven development. And this is what we need to be working on, is specification-driven development. And you see here, we've basically got a development timelines about where we spend most of our time. So where do I see developers in the future? I see us writing specifications and doing that chat with AI. AI is really good at refining information and ideas. You can discuss ideas. Keep in mind, AI has the entire knowledge of the internet in its brain, right? So there's a lot of stuff in there and a lot of examples and patterns of software development that we might not even know about. So you can actually refine architecture pretty quickly with using AI. Of course, you'd have to go on. I also do recommend that you check and you fact check and validate what you're getting, because AI is going to hallucinate, because we know that generative AI, LLMs, are actually transformers. They just generate stuff, and it's all hallucinations really, but they're guided hallucinations, and that's the key. The guide specifications. We spend most of our time doing specifications. We spend a bit more time chatting about an implementation plan. When it comes to coding execution, that's where we kind of can be a little bit hands-off most of the time. If we get these first two activities right through our project intelligence, our coding execution becomes really simple. And I think we're seeing more and more of that. I think it's accelerating now. I think it's changed. The landscape's changing. It was changing weekly when I was starting to put this talk together and exploring these tools. So I don't think it's slowed down. I think if anything, it's speeding up. So if you wanted to get started with AI coding and building out your specification-driven development, it's about providing context and providing contextual prompts. And if you've used Amazon Q, CLI a lot, you've got the capability of adding context and creating specific rules and guidance for the AI to actually behave. And it's really interesting to do that. People talk about AI not being able to code properly. I've had sessions where I've had Amazon Q CLI not write any code, but instead ask me questions about what I wanted to build first. So I actually set that expectation with the ways of working file. And we'll talk about how do we get those into the tools. But the idea is that you can have your AI, like Amazon Q CLI, I've had it ask me a question about what to build. And once it starts building, I've had to do test-driven design. So write the tests first, then write the code. And then when code fails or when tests fail, it would fix the code, not fix the tests. Because I think a lot of the AI coding assistants, when we work with them, we need to tell them how to behave, how to work, because they do their own thing. And I think they're very, very fixated on creating code and very fixated on when code fails, I need to fix tests, because that's kind of what we've taught AI to do through the internet. That's how developers generally work. Not everybody. That could be contentious. So how can we get started? Now, Christian Bonsley created this prompts.dev. If you don't know about it, check it out. Prompts.dev is a community-driven project that contains a whole heap of prompts. So these are starting points of how you can guide your AI. And I've been contributing, but Christian's been contributing, a few other people have started contributing. I've written quite a few rules out there. You can share prompts and you can share rules. Prompts are all about how do you give AI instruction to do things for programming. Rules from an Amazon Q CLI perspective are the ways of working, the guidance, the things that the tool reads to update and keep working, the way you want it to manage your projects. And that's what adding to your specification-driven design, and it's adding to your test breakdowns and your implementation plans. It's really the layer above that, the metadata that drives what your AI does. So once we get that, it's time to, once we start building specs, once we start building out project intelligence, and we start building out ways of working, it's time just to move beyond the vibe coding. We need to start looking to get into a new flow. We need to enter the flow. So last year, Swami was quoted Swami is the AWS Agentic AI lead at AWS, and he said we're moving from code writing to problem solving, and this is what AI assistance is doing in the developer world. It's lifting our focus up, and if I look at this really clearly, it's taking our focus from delivering code. So if I look at projects today, we focus on delivering code. Sure, there's outcomes at the end that are business outcomes and valuable outcomes for our customers, but we're really focused as developers on the code. We're not focused on all the outcomes. And I think that's a real mindset shift. Our tech leads and our leaders and our people who are guiding our developers, they're the ones that are doing that outcome-driven view. But now with our coding assistance, every developer on your team can be lifted up out of that focus on delivering code and focus on delivering outcomes. And I think that is where the power of AI coding assistant comes in. So that's really true. What's one we said, we're moving from code writing to problem solving. I love it. I love that quote. So shifting to problem solving is more about, we're seeing we all fear it as developers. We're becoming prompt engineers, not developers. But that's not true. We still need to be developers. So this slide I borrowed from Aaron Sen from AWS. He's one of my collaborators and mentors from AWS. And we talked about we've talked a lot about the rise of prompt engineering and vibe coding. Vibe coding is that place of you need to do something quick. I think it still has a place. Vibe coding still has a place. It's where you do something really quick, and you don't need to have a lot of structure and rigor around what you're doing. And that's great for bug fixing, maybe. Writing a quick test. You can probably vibe code that pretty quickly. So it's more that vibe coding is more, I want to do one thing, and you give it a broad statement, and then it does that, and then you refine that broad statement, and you keep working and iterating on that vibe until you get what you want. And it might be a bit of a roundabout way of getting to what you want. Whereas if you want to build a bigger project, then we need to be really focusing on what we're calling flowgramming. Aaron and I have come up with this term called flowgramming. People have heard me say it. We're going to move from vibe coding to flowgramming. So that's what I think. I think we should all become flowgrammers. And this is more about that spec-driven agentic workflow development, which really is driven by the way tools are developing today. And if you listen to anyone who's out there talking about how to leverage AI, I think the consensus right now is we need to be giving it rich context. We need to be giving it rich ideas, because that actually pays off dividends with value and value add and delivery of value. So how do we become a flowgrammer? What do we need to do? How can we change what are the steps we need to go? When you start with the AI coding assistants, no matter what it is, we need to remember to take time to create specifications. We really need to refine what we're building and get AI to understand that. We need to create that plan and prepare the feature prompts. You don't have to write the prompts. The thing I find fascinating is AI can write the prompts for AI. So I kind of feel this is kind of this little inception thing happening, but it's really cool. You don't have to do it. It actually does a really good job of preparing the prompts that drive the actual development. Create your project intelligence. Save these files. Make them context for the AI. Make sure that it's being used. Quite frankly, pair program with AI works. Don't treat AI as a magic silver bullet. That's my key advice. Instead, treat it like a part of your team, an extension of yourself, and lift yourself up to be that flowgrammer, to start problem solving and thinking about end outcomes rather than what the code is. Maybe it won't be super efficient, but I think AI coding assistants are getting better and better at writing really good code. And I think if you can pull these things together, you're actually going to start to maximize your flow. What do you need to do to get here? What can you do today? What can you go and do today to maximize your flow, maximize your vibe, and turn into a flow runner? Well, I think everyone should take a look at your current AI workflow and behavior tracking. Really start to look at starting with specifications for larger projects, not vibes, because that's what drives reality. I mean, if you look at real life projects, it's all about, we have, looking at way you break down projects. We have epics, people. I work at Accenture. Our customers love Jira. I don't know if everyone loves Jira. It's a love-hate relationship, mostly. But we create epics. So we create those epics. We break those epics down to user stories, and we deliver across those. So that's really the specification of what we're doing. It doesn't necessarily have to be a detailed document, but it should be in some degrees to guide the AI. And look, and the last point I want to do is use prompts.dev. It's a really good resource. I think capitalize on that resource and make use of that for enabling you to maximize your vibe and become a flowgrammer. Thank you for listening. That's what I have to say about maximizing your vibe. I'm excited by AI programming. So I'm excited. Are you excited?
Very excited.
I know I tell you what, the last 6 months is blown. My mind's continually blown by the effect that AI can have on what you do. And it comes back to just being smarter and more rich with the way you interact and not. I mean, you look at vibe coding, I say it's the YOLO. I think there's a place for vibe coding. Doing that snake game, that was fun. But
Yeah.
to me is recreating what's already been done on the internet. It's not creating something new. Whereas flowgramming is defining something new and guiding AI to actually build something new. And I think that's where we need to be.
Yeah, I like that approach. That's a good way to think about it. It's like vibe coding's, just having a good time, shouldn't ship this to prod, but flowgramming's more like I'm a responsible adult.
I think that's a really good analogy, right? Well, I mean, you can vibe code and ship it to prod. I mean, people are, right? But people when they're vibing are vibing in smaller sections, right? They're just going, well, let's build something big, and they're like, that's a bit shit. Let's build something better.
Yeah,
I mean, you can
totally.
refine, so you can go through steps of refinement. So.
Right. Yeah, we did have a question here. Is that the correct link, Michael?
Yes, it is. It is. It hasn't been. I've kind of announced it vicariously through this talk. I built the Power Tools MCP server and hosted originally on Serverless DNA. I wrote that really quickly and developed it to push it out there to test an idea because I was angry about where the state of AWS CLI, of Amazon CLI was with serverless code. I got really angry. I went, I don't want to wait for someone to fix this. I'm going to try it. But the MCP interaction, I posted this. When I released the Power Tools MCP server from Serverless DNA, that's my GitHub org that I use for all my code.
Mm-hmm.
I actually released that with a video, and the video I recorded was the first time I'd used Amazon QCLI with Power Tools MCP plugged in, and it blew me away. So to answer the question, yes, that's where it is. I have now donated that code to the AWS Power Tools team, and the AWS Power Tools team now own the code. I've donated that to AWS, so it's no longer mine. I wanted to share that with the community and make that part of the Power Tools community. So I think it's powerful, and I'm working with the Power Tools team in the background to develop that and make that more, make it better, and actually start using AI in more interesting ways in the Power Tools world. So I'm excited about that. It's going to be fun.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm bad at talking and typing. Yeah, I just put the link in as well, just in case, because we're on multiple platforms. If someone is not on LinkedIn, you can copy paste that from the chat.
Yeah, if you're having trouble finding it, it's all part of the Power Tools GitHub org. So the Power Tools MCP is out there, and it's being actively developed. So I'm excited about that. I've just been really busy and haven't enough time to contribute too much, but I will.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, we had another comment as well here.
Love Jira.
Love Jira.
It is, and just have Atlassian released a Jira MCP yet? I mean, there's your specs, right? We can write our specs. Like, if you think about MCP, I think I was skeptical. I'm gonna come out here and say this. No, I was a skeptic. I really was skeptical. But
yeah, it's awesome for like extra context. I found I really trust it for reading docs. I'm not quite to the point of letting it do stuff yet, but I'll get there.
Yeah, I think reading things is interesting, right? And this is, I was questioned by people about, well, why would you write a search engine for Power Tools when the AI coding systems are getting the ability to search the internet and interact with it? And I was like, at the time, well, you people in America and Europe may be lucky to have AI tools that read the internet. In Australia, they don't exist yet, or they're locked out to us. And it's like, so I fixed that.
Yeah. Honestly, being in the US, I never think about that, so I take it for granted.
It's really interesting. It's that lower that smaller context, and it's what I love about Power Tools idea is this is why I came up with the idea. It's like, well, how can I get better information about Power Tools? That's my thought process. How can I get better information into AI to make it understand how to work better with something like Power Tools? Because that's what I think is, that's kind of an idiomatic way now of doing serverless is with TypeScript, Python, and the languages is using Power Tools. It has some idiomatic benefits, and so that's what came to my mind. And the beauty is that it hooks into the live search index of the website and streams that down to the MCP server locally. So you're using the live published docs every single time.
That's
and
awesome.
it understands the runtime definition of the docs, and it understands the versioning of the docs. So you can actually limit it to just Python, just TypeScript, and a particular version of the docs if that's what's on your project. So that's pretty exciting. I think that's really cool. And that's just because MakeDocs works like that.
Yeah, that's super cool because that almost kind of solves the problem of like the model was trained on old data. This gives it a way to plug into current stuff.
Yeah, Daryl, the tools have a lot of promise. I agree, they have a lot of promise. And they have a lot of promise if you harness and use them in a wise way. And I guess that's my journey, right? I went from complete, let's just vibe like everyone else in January, February this year, to very quickly in April, March, basically by April, I was going, no, just vibing is not enough because and the knowledge we also got to recall that the knowledge of what's in the LLM is only as good as when the LLM was built, and that's a lag of 6 to 9 months usually. So that's where, and I think that's where the power of adding context and information to the MCP via MCP is powerful, because now you're getting up to the second information. That's what we're proving. And searching the internet is cool, right? So coming back to that point about people going, well, why would you build it if they can search the internet? Well, why would I search the internet if I can actually go to the source of truth?
You know where where the best info is going to be.
And that's where I went. And the cool thing about this is I've also on Serverless DNA, I've also got a generic MakeDocs MCP plugin as well. So I built it originally for Power Tools, and because Power Tools uses MakeDocs. But on Serverless DNA, I'll have to grab the link for you. Grab the link for you. But now
we should post.
I can't talk in type at the same time.
Yeah, we should post it in the chat for folks.
Oh, you've got it? Cool.
Yeah, I can plop it in here. This is just like serverlessdna.com.
Oh, that's my thing. But here's.
Or did you want more detailed? Yeah.
Here's here. I'll pop it in the chat for you so you can. I don't know if I can share it. But there's the MakeDocs MCP. So this is a generic version that you can point at almost any. You basically point to any MakeDocs documentation on the internet, and it'll do the broad searches through the index, right? Exactly the same way that MakeDocs does. Now, the caveat here is it'll only work in the current version of MakeDocs. MakeDocs are currently reworking a lot of their search engine, so it's got a limited lifespan, unfortunately. But I'm happy to keep going with this. It's interesting, right? So I released this on the weekend. I decided to build this on the weekend at AWS release. Strands Agents. Strands Agents they got a custom MCP server, and that's cool. They've done that. I looked at that. Mm-hmm. That's a little bit less than great. So I released MakeDocs MCP, and you can actually point this directly at the Strands documentation site, and it just infuses everything on that site.
No, that's awesome. Yeah,
that's kind of a little evil, but
it happens.
I was like, I could do better than that. Here you go.
It's the best part about all this. Yeah, it democratizes it. So yeah.
So the cool thing is that will point to any MakeDocs MCP knowledge site, which is millions of them. So anyone out there who's wondering how they can drive AI better with their MakeDocs documentation for their developer tool, this is going to do it for you. And reach out on GitHub, reach out on socials, happy to chat, happy to hear what your experience is, because this is an exciting space. I love talking to people about their experiences and what we can do now.
Yeah, definitely. And it's cool to just like talk to people and get ideas, of what works for them, might work for you too. So.
Yeah, I know, right? And I think this is my experience, and this experience is just getting richer and richer. And the quality of response over the last 6 months from AI coding systems has been phenomenal. The response is phenomenal, right? I think right now Amazon QCLI actually does a really good job out of the box without power source clicking.
Yeah, I do like the QCLI a lot. I like it more than the Q developer in VS Code personally.
Well, Q developer's a little slow, and they're different projects. Will the real Amazon Q please stand up?
Yeah, there's so many of them. Yeah.
Because you go, Amazon basically went, let's put everything about generative AI in the Amazon Q. So we started with Amazon Q in QuickSign, putting stuff together in QuickSign.
Yeah.
We started with Amazon Q in the console, and we all know how good that was.
Oh yeah, yeah. The context on your
and then Amazon Code Whisperer became Amazon Q developer, and then the AI, the chat builder. What was that? There was a chat builder. It became the world's longest named service in Amazon in AWS history. It became chatbots for Amazon Q developer. Blah 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 blah. The name escapes me, but
oh yeah, it used to be the chatbot. Yeah,
and Amazon QCLI. All of these different teams, all of these different products. Some of them are a little bit less than ordinary, and that's a bad thing. That tars all the other tools because everyone used Amazon Q console. I went, well, this is a little bit shit.
This is garbage. Yeah.
Sorry, well, I had to say that online.
I said it. You did.
Crap, right? And so you write off all the tools, going, no, I don't want to use that. But
yeah, definitely.
I think these tools are moving so fast. All the tools in all the spaces from all the companies are moving so fast. I think it's worth trying them all out. I mean, I've tried Cursor. Cursor didn't vibe with me. Didn't vibe at all. I don't know why. Just didn't vibe with me.
GitHub Copilot or?
Well, I've tried that earlier. I haven't tried it since. I tried that early on. It was like, meh. It was like Code Whisperer, right? It got in the way. I was typing faster than AI back then. This was last year, right? Late last year, I was trying out Code Whisperer.
Yeah, last year it was slow.
It was getting in the way. It would be adding stuff in over what I was typing, and I just wrote them off for a while after that because I was like, I know what I'm writing. I know what I want to write.
Yeah.
30 years. I know what I want to write.
It's like the modern Clippy, you know.
No, right?
Do you need help with that? Yeah.
Building a web server.
The younger viewers may not get that, but anyway.
I'm surprised no one's brought that back.
Yeah, I think
I'm almost tempted to spin one and spin it with Nova Sonic. I think that would be a bit of fun to have a clippy pop up on the Serverless DNA website and go, oh, I see you're looking forward.
Do you need some help with that? Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
Awesome.
I think everyone should go and Google Clippy memes. I think you would have a little bit of fun.
I agree. Yeah. I miss the spirit of Clippy. I don't always miss it like interrupting my work, but
yeah. No, good fun. Cool.
Awesome. This is the last call for anyone in chat. If you have any other questions you wanted to ask Michael live.
Yeah.
We usually have a little bit of a lag, so I'll let it go for a little bit. But you're also in the Believe in Serverless Discord, so
I'm also in the Believe in Serverless Discord. So happy that we can carry on the conversation there. I think there has been some really good conversations to date with AI. I know David Boyd and I we connected last month and had foolishly I said let's we wanted to connect and sort of share ideas about how we're using AI and David and I sort of hooked up and I thought we feel like let's just hook up for like 45 minutes and now
that's awesome.
2.5 hours later of just talking and sharing and in the next week Boyney was just pumping out stuff with event catalog across things that we'd already things we discussed and shared and talked about. So it was really cool. So I think David Boyd and I are going to get together and try and get more of a general chat going and get people involved and have kind of like a community huddle. I think that would be really cool to have a community huddle of AI for everyone to share their experiences. I think that would be fun because we're all using these tools. And I'd love to is. And
Yeah, I would definitely be into that. So
David and I we went down so many rabbit holes and ideas. It was that ideas were popping all the time. It was really cool discussion. So I'd love to do that in the community as well. So reach out.
awesome. Yeah, and if you're not already in the Discord server, it's believeinserverless.com/community. That should send you to a Discord invite link so you can talk to Michael, you can talk to me. Alan and Andres are in there. Wanted to shout out their live stream. I don't see any in the near future, but they usually do it weekly. So keep an eye out for that. They've been doing lots of AI stuff. Pretty interesting. I think the last one was like about A2A, which I didn't know much about, learned a lot.
Yeah, cool. No, it's been great. It's been great. There's so much going on. It's
Yeah.
kind of like the internet being born all over again.
It kind of is. Yeah. It's like a new like .com boom.
I did witness it as an adult.
But yeah, trying to think what else. Oh yeah, the other thing I should shout out here is definitely thanks to our community sponsors. Both Memento and Serverless Guru are very gracious with the community. So definitely give them some love. I believe it's gomomento.com or serverlessguru.com. If you need any contracting or anything, they're very good serverless experts there. And most of them are in our chat too. So we're kind of spoiled there as well.
Yeah, I just want to shout out again, if you're not in the Believe in Serverless community, join up. It's a really safe space and people are sharing real stories, real experiences, which is where the truth of serverless is.
Yeah, you said it better than me. And it's worldwide too. So there's people in there talking like when I'm asleep. So that's another thing I love about it.
That'll be me.
You're in tomorrow for me. So
See, today you've seen a glimpse of the future from Australia. It's morning.
All right. Awesome. Anything else to close up here, Michael, before I end the stream?
That's it. Reach out to me on socials. I'm on LinkedIn. I'm at Wormsels everywhere. Reach out on LinkedIn. Reach out on Serverless. Believe in Serverless. Check out Serverless DNA. It's been a little quiet because I've been building code, but I'm going to start that up again. Got a few other projects and those are starting up soon. So keep an eye out. Can't wait to see you all soon.
Awesome. Thanks, y'all. And thank you for joining us, Michael. Much appreciated.
Thank you. Lots of fun.
See y'all.